Hey guys, what's up? Everybody's doing okay? Have a good start to your weekend. Hope everybody's going to have a good one. Hope you guys got good time playing with your family during all the festivities and stuff going on this month. So I'll just, yeah, let's get into it here, guys. I'll say hi first. Hey Stephanie, George, how you guys doing? Infinite, Ann, Carolyn, Skywatcher, good to see you. Muse, Tab P, Tanya, Elizabeth, Mind for Knowledge, Darcy, Deborah, Mary, Carolyn again, Mary again, Dennis, Shannon, Scott from Oz. Follow the yellow brick road, right? Oh, goodness. Let's see here. Blind Fear, Forever Strong, Susan again, Tab P again, Taylor. Hey, what's up, Taylor? Yeah, that D was that CME was definitely a dud. Yeah, good morning back to you, Jan. But we're going to talk about some other stuff here too, and we're going to address that CME just a little bit more because it's going to affect people. The fact that people that don't really have a good knowledge base of what's going on when we talk about space weather. Hey, G513. They're just not. They're going to think that now. They're going to think because the whole world came out, including me, saying that we were going to get a pretty decent, geomagnetic storm from it, and it just did not happen. So I really gotta, what I'm trying to hammer home here is that just because it didn't happen that time doesn't mean that it ain't gonna happen. Okay, because it will most certainly. It's like I said before, guys. It's a matter of when, not a matter of if. It's going to happen eventually that we get a solar storm of significance. Now, does that mean that it's going to be the worst thing we've ever seen? No. It just means that we have a significant solar storm that causes, regional, moderate issues. The ones that are going to cause large ones, guys, we're going to know pretty quick whether or not that's going to happen. Now, we've seen big ones. I've shown you guys big ones that did not hit us. One of which it overloaded the detector back in 2012, and after further analysis on that, they decided it was like an X45, I think, flare. It was in the 40s. Now, it came in as an X28, and that's when it stopped. It didn't give you no more reading because it hit the tool so hard the tool didn't know what to do. So what I'm trying to say is that we got that high C-class flare, and then we had the subsequent CME with it, which is what the halo was. Yeah, X48. There you go, George. Thank you. So we can't judge the CME by the flare. And what just happened is actually kind of evident of that. Even though the CME was large in size, that's another thing we can learn from this. Does not mean that it's intense. Does not mean that it's really, really strong. It just simply means it was large in size. It covered a lot of area. But let me say this. We do know that when we see those bigger ones, they're more apt to be on the stronger side. Okay, so just so everybody understands that. Hey, Christine, what's up? So, guys, I really wanted to address that a little bit before we get into this because I don't want people letting their guards down, and I don't want people taking it too serious either. That's why when I was reporting on it, I didn't come out here telling you it was going to be the end of the world like a lot of people did. Believe it or not, guys, what I was reporting on was kind of moderate to what other people were saying, including mainstream. When the head, check this out. My wife showed me this yesterday. The head Google search, like at the top, it wasn't really searching for what we talk about, but was talking about that CME, and it was how it was going to be on its way and what it was going to do. That was on Google. So, and like I said, the fear for me there is, it's not fear, it's just concern for you guys that take it, you know, that will see that kind of thing. Not you guys. Anybody that's been here for a while knows. But the people that are just kind of coming into this, learning this, and just kind of new to it, they're going to see that, and it's going to look like the whole world doesn't know what they're talking about. That's exactly what it's going to look like. And that's exactly why I always say, hey, we got to have patience. We have to. And that's why. And I've also said so many times that we do not know how strong a CME is going to be until it gets here. We can guess. We can have very, very close, educated guessing. Okay? A lot of times we're really close, especially the big agencies that, you know, have all the great technology and stuff and the good models they can enter the data into and look at it. We see decent ones, but can you imagine what they get to see? The stuff that they have at their fingertips, we don't have that kind of stuff. You know, it's just not, it's not feasible, or it's not even really that logical to think that we could even have access to that kind of stuff. The reason why we have access to what we do is because our tax dollars pay for it. That's the only reason we get to see any of this satellite stuff. You guys think they're doing that out of the kindness of their heart? No. not even close. So with that said, I'm going to get moving here because I do want to show you guys some things, and the sun is still active. As a matter of fact, it's very active, and I'll show you here in just a second. But we'll touch on the Schumann here real quick before we move on. We do have a little bit of a rise in frequency here. You see how we kind of had like a dull area here, where everything kind of calmed down for whatever, you know, for that period of time. We're getting these hash marks still. We've got this. We had this slanted signature over here. And I showed you guys in my previous video, we had one about 24 hours before that kind of slanting the other way. I still don't know what caused that. I probably never will. Was it a big deal? No. But it was something that was strange and not... we don't typically see that. I've never seen it like that before, ever. You know. So, remember on this one, when it plots a data point, it plots it vertically, like this. Okay? So, for something to go, like, at an angle, it really has to have some sort of a strange something going on with that. Just saying. So, anyway. You know, overall rise in frequency. This here... definitely would affect people wherever they were at. I seen somebody in the chat was saying in my last video was explaining what the they asked me what time this tool uses, UTC, you know, that kind of time zones. Somebody was explaining that in the chat in the last video. I can't remember who it was, but if you guys want to know how to do that, just go, you know, or just simply Google it. You can learn how to, you know, figure out how to get to the time via this. It's pretty simple. Once you know the difference of hours between you and where this tool is, it's real easy to figure out. But regardless, we're going to keep moving here. So, Space Weather Prediction Center. And again, guys, just because things were not exactly how everybody thought it was going to be, doesn't mean that any of this stuff that we look at does not make it, it doesn't make it like uncredible or credible, right? And I want to point that out too. Do we trust these things fully? No, we never have. Never. That's why we scrutinize them. That's why we dig into them. That's why we look. But for the most part, just data points and stuff like that, that is pretty accurate. I don't see any reason somebody would want to try to do whatever with that. You know, just on a graph like this that really isn't going to have any kind of a big deal on anything. The stuff that they're going to change is the stuff that's really visual, that's going to shock people. The stuff that's normal and stuff that they're going to show us anyway, they're not going to change any of that. It just doesn't make any sense. So anyway, we'll get moving here. We got solar X-ray flux. Notice, guys, each time we see these little spikes right here, that's a flare. That's a little bit of a flare. These are actually, you know, I would call them small flares, but they're on the high end of small. And when I say small, I'm talking about like the spiking area of it here on this graph. I'm not talking about strength or anything like that, but this is what it's kind of showing is the strength of it. But if you took this baseline right here and took it up here to where it was, that would put each and every one of these in C class. And this is where we were at last week. We've popped down because we haven't had as many sunspots facing the Earth. Thus, we haven't had as many X-rays. That's what that is. Oh, and just to touch on it for a second, guys. Yeah, I'm still not feeling good. Okay, just so everybody knows, I'm not going to go into any of that. People have been asking me. Yeah. So if I end up popping off the internet here for a couple days, I'll try to give everybody a heads up if that ends up happening at any point in time. But that's why I didn't do. That's why my videos, my live streams, kind of slowed down there the past couple days. I went over and just said hi to Mark today in his live stream, and I just couldn't stick around. So that's why. So just so everybody knows, I don't need any kind of special treatment or nothing like that. I'm not asking for any of that, other than prayers. That's it. So please just know that, and I'm not going to talk about that much more because I don't want to, be a downer. I don't like going to other people's channels and hearing them talk about how bad they have it over and over and over again. If somebody comes out and just telling somebody the situation, that's different. But when they continuously talk about it, that's when it's an issue. Because at that point, guys, there's no other way to say it. That they're just looking for pity and help. That's it. If it's a continuous thing. So, and I'm not here to do that to you guys. Geomagnetic activity. It's kind of in the middle, guys. This right here, that's where that CME hit. Okay? That's as high as it got. It almost got into storm level, but it didn't. If it had got there, would have been much anything different? No. But that is where that CME hit. And now we're kind of down into ambient conditions. We are kind of on the low end of ambient, but, I don't look for that to stick that way. We could dip down, but I don't think we will. I think we're getting enough activity right now that it'll probably keep us off the basement for a while. First look at the sun. Notice what we got staring right at us here. That is a coronal hole plus this one. We will connect to these things. If we're probably already connected to that one. And that solar wind stream will be here in just a few days, probably 4 to 5. And however long it stays in front of us is how long we can expect the winds to continue off of that one coronal hole. This is that active area getting ready to come into view. It actually kind of already is when we go look at the other views. And I'll show them to you here in just a few minutes. Let's just leave that there. This is the ACE data, guys. You can see how we had a big blackout area. I'm not sure if that was the line of sight or if they had some issue with the satellite or whatever. Regardless, nothing was really going on there. When it came back on, yes, things are very variable. They're fluctuating up and down pretty quick. They're going high, low, high, low, high, low, and that's what you're seeing here with this density, right? We got it to about 10 here. That's what it's showing, which is, 4 is normal. The BZ, which is one of the biggest reasons why we didn't get much off of that halo CME. The angle just wasn't right. That's why it's important when we look at this, when it's in the negative, that means things are right for stuff to come in. If things are in the positive, it does what we've seen. Hardly anything from a big halo CME. That's just where it comes from, right? Temperature, same kind of thing. The Enlil model is finally updating, which it wasn't. It is now, and that's a good thing. I mean, obviously. There's my favorite name right there, Skywalker. Skywatcher, I'm sorry. I thought that was Skywalker. My bad. I still like your name, though. Anyway, you can see how we're getting a little bump right here. Now pay attention to this right here. Because if we're looking at this, and we look at this just on the face, that doesn't look like much of anything, does it? Well, let me pause it. Put it right there. If you look over here, that's the conditions, right? Look at the range. 10 to 50 still. I don't know why they got it that high. It's saying stereo B is going to catch a big density thing again. And guys, I'm not going to trust this density thing for a while, at least, because we looked at 2 different density things coming at us on this model, and neither one of them materialized. Not as high as what they were showing. We did get an uptick in density. It got close to 30, but it was nowhere near 80. Okay, that's what it was showing. So anyway, this right here really should, you know, on any other day, 10 or 15 is actually the top of this thing. So the spike would look like this. Okay, so that's really what you're seeing there. You're seeing a density increase of 10. That's what that's kind of showing right there. And, you know, it's about doubled normal, but that still really isn't all that much. Now, the wind speed itself, that range is actually pretty much normal. You know, nothing's out of normal here, so nothing really to say. Aurora, not much going on there. Obviously, without any geomagnetic activity, you're not going to see any kind of aurora, which I feel sorry for the aurora photographers. I really, truly do. Some guys do that for their job, guys. You guys know that? So when the auroras don't happen, and they're supposed to be happening, or everybody said it was going to in a big way, that's just a huge letdown for those guys. Huge. So, yeah. This is the absorption rate. This kind of shows X-ray absorption and all that kind of stuff. I'm not sure if we see much on this right now. Probably not. Maybe a little, because we are getting some flaring, but there's nothing there really showing up. So, we will move on. Magnetopause models. I'm not even going to waste my time showing you these either, because these aren't doing anything. I mean, absolutely nothing. Everything's just like in normal range. So I'm not going to really waste my time. Now, I'm going to take you guys to seeds first before I show you the sun there. First thing I want to do here, seeds is still got for the 10th. I don't know why they're not posting this data, because this data is showing up on ISWA. We don't get to see the black and white difference model, which is what we like to see, because we're able to see the CME a lot better, right? Let's see here. It says I'm watching an old episode of Hey, you're welcome. That's pretty cool. I like X-Files. Sit from Oz. That's cool. Keith and Queen Brett. That's right. You said it, Keith. You know, Mark's become a brother to me. And Marf, too. Adam's a good guy. And, you know, guys, I'm telling you, I've been very, very fortunate to have some really good guys surround me here on YouTube. You know, it starts with Scott. You know, you know, let me say something. He is probably one of the best friends I've ever had. You know, he cares enough that you know, when people come at me, he knows that I don't typically say anything, so he goes at them double hard. And, you know, only a true friend does those kinds of things, because he has no reason to do it. He could just let me do this and just keep moving. But no, he doesn't like it when people do stuff or say stupid stuff to me. I don't like it when people do that to him either. I just handle it in a different way, and that's fine. You know, that's just how I handle it, and, you know, he handles it the other. I just recognize that as being a good friend. And also, you know, Mark is a brother of mine for sure. Marf, Adam, you know, for a while still. Dex, I have to include Dex on that, okay? Anybody that's in over there knows that Marfugal does not go unless Dex does. And Dex doesn't go unless Adam does. So we know it takes them both to run that whole thing over there. And you can tell that they're close, and that's a good thing. So anyway, on the 10th here, still don't have no data. Go the next day, which is the 11th, and we see another Halo CME. Okay? And what was kind of disturbing at the beginning of this, when I seen the CME pop off, I thought, man, is that coming at us? You know, because that's what it looks like, right? And I've said this multiple times, and we'll get to this again here real quick. I want to get to where it blows. Okay, so this starts happening right here. Look at the timestamp. That's the, last night about 10 or 11 o'clock. That would be, yeah, about 10. No, that'd be about 8, almost 9. I'm sorry. So if we keep moving here, watch what happens. Okay? That's at the turn of the day on the 11th. So what's strange about this is, and this may be why it's not on there, if we could have looked at the 10th, we would have seen a little bit more of this CME. But they're not showing us the 10th. So, again, I don't know why. It's probably nothing. It's probably just a normal thing, but we missed those hours. Because sometimes, guys, at the beginning of the day, these timestamps, they do different stuff with these satellites sometimes. They'll point them different directions for whatever reason, looking at something else. They'll, so you'll get, like, data missing, like 3 or 4 hour chunks sometimes. But, this one here, that is a Halo CME, guys, look. So, man, this is what I'm saying. We cannot let our guard down. Look at that, okay? Now, again, when I see things like that, I'm like, oh my gosh, is that coming at us? We just went through one just now with really not much of anything happening. And the fear there is that because nothing happened, is anybody going to take it serious? And I think we would be doing the wrong thing if we didn't, okay? But, so is that hitting us? We'll get into that in just a second. But here's what's the latest right here. This is 24 hours later almost. So we still got ejections off the sun. They're continuing. This is not going to slow down, okay? And I've said that probably 1,000 times now. So how do we know if that CME is coming our direction? Well, I went and looked at the CME tracker, and it still hasn't updated since we had the other one that we just dealt with, right? So let's go here to on the 11th, and you can see that. See all this mess? That's a Halo CME blowing off the backside. Okay, because the satellite's here, Earth is over here. That's why that looks like. Remember, we can't tell if it's coming right at us or going off the back if it's in that line, because that occulter, blocks it. So we have to look at this, and this gives us a different perspective, and we can most definitely tell that this is going off the backside, guys. Okay, it's not coming at us. It could be going that way or even this way, but. But most likely with it being like a halo where we can't hardly see anything, it's probably pretty close to blowing straight off the back because of our perspective from the other satellite. And again, let me show you this. So we go from, we're missing the first 3.5 hours of data on this one. That's why we don't see the beginning of this thing. So let's go back to the 10th. And see if we see anything, and we kind of do. I think that was probably the initial blast. I'll show it to you. Right there. It probably wasn't, because, look, that's the start of the 10th. Yeah, we don't get to see any of the start of that CME. I didn't notice that until just now. So yeah, we don't get to see any of the start of that CME, which is whatever. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's going off the backside. We get that, right? But watch what happens here on the 12th on this one. Remember, that's Venus. Don't let somebody tell you it's some freaking spaceship dropping bombs on us, okay? Because that's what somebody. I guarantee you, somebody will say that's what it is. It's just frustrating when I hear stuff like that. I'm sorry. Anyway. See this? That's showing those other CMEs that we just seen. So, those ones we seen on LASCO C2 are probably coming our direction. At least our general direction. Because the Earth actually isn't 90 degrees from stereo A. Stereo A is here, right? We can't go up here and go 90 degrees. We got to go, it's getting closer to 45 now, by the way. Here's stereo A. If we follow it up, it kind of angles back this way. So the Earth's kind of over here now. So judging by both of those, both of the satellites, it does kind of look like at least this one here might be coming at us. Now that's going to, again, we'll watch it 3 or 4 days from now. We'll see what's happening, okay? We still have stuff happening, and we're not, here on this channel, we're not going to let our guard down. I don't care what happened before. I could care less at this point. That's history now. We've learned from it. We know what we can do and what we, you know, what we should and shouldn't be out here saying. And, you know, just because we make a mistake does not mean that we just quit looking altogether. Thanks, Susan. I appreciate that. Really do. So here's that. This CME here, I think, is what we're seeing on stereo A. So again, the Earth's here, but even though this looks like it's going to the side, it could still be coming more so towards us. This is two-dimensional. Anything that comes off of the sun on this half is going to look like it's going directly to the left. It's not what it's doing. Sometimes they come at an angle. Sometimes they even come almost like at us. So, you know, plus we got this one over here. That right there is probably why we've seen this, okay, on stereo B. Alright, that's probably what that tool has picked up, because that is, you know, that's a CME too. So that one there probably went and got fired off to our right. This one here is the one that I guess could give us a glancing blow or even come at us. I don't know yet. I'm not making any claims there because I can't. I don't have enough data, and I'm not going to do that. So anyway, so let's go back here and we'll take a look at this on the sun. So what I've done is I've pulled up two different two of the same angstrom, two different time periods. Okay, so what I did here is this one here starts at the second hour on the 11th. So we're gonna watch this now. Watch what you see what you're seeing here. That, in my opinion, could have been that halo CME. Okay? Because it may even be back further. But you can see, let me zoom in. Sorry guys. I got you zoomed way out. Okay, you see that? It could be a different one though too. So I'm not really for sure. When they come off the backside, they're hard to, you know, they're hard to see when we're looking from the front on SDO because the sun's there, obviously, right? Now this one here, this area is getting ready to crest over and be right in front of us. I know I'm moving that chat around a lot. I apologize, but it is what it is. Now notice right there, watch this explosion. That's the second one. That could actually be coming our direction a little bit. I don't think we're going to take a direct hit from that by no means. But there was another CME right here, guys. See that flare right there? And there was a CME after it. Okay? So, I wanted to show you guys that because stuff is still happening. We cannot let our guard down all the way. We can be a little bit more reserved if we want, but I'm just going to keep doing the things like I've done before because I don't come out here and fearmonger you guys, you know? I try to be as honest as I can to what I actually think is going to happen. And I'm going to continue to do that. I don't care what troll comes in here and wants to try to throw their whatever around. It's not going to work. I don't care what they say. You know, if I value the troll's opinion, then I might as well just leave the internet. That simple. Actually, I'm going to X off this because I'm stereo A. I don't care about that one right now. Alright, so this one here, we'll be able to see the flare pretty decent probably on the 131. Actually, I don't have it back far enough. Daggone it. Yeah, that's what I was kind of afraid of because the time frame on these things is actually a little off. Watch the second explosion though right here. See it? And you can see how it just kept, you know, pretty decent size explosion right there. You know, when it explodes that fast, see that? That's typically it does show a little bit of strength because it does matter how fast they move. It's just like solar wind, guys. The faster it's moving, the harder it's going to hit us. So watch the other CME right here. See that? It virtually happened right where that Halo CME happened back on the 7th. So, yeah, I mean, it's not the same sunspot, but it definitely happened in the same area. So I just think, I thought you guys would want to see what that was doing. And again, we're not seeing much of anything else. This is stereo A. This spot here is the one that's getting ready to crest over. This one, right? So watch this. See that? This also gives us a good idea of what's behind it. Look. So we got more active regions. This is just going to continue. And that's my whole point here. So I wanted to show that to you. Hey, Hilly, what's up? Guys, I am sorry that my voice, and I know I don't sound very energetic. I'm just kind of struggling right now. So just know, I'll be fine. I just don't want people to get like, what's he like that for? You know, I don't want people to worry. I understand. You know, when I have people that I watch and I had watched and they leave the internet for like 1 or 2 months and never say nothing, I just don't think that that's right. Because people do actually care, you know? So, like I said, if I end up leaving for a couple days, you might miss me for a day or so. But I'll let somebody know after that. At least so somebody else that we talk about or talk to can at least, you know, give somebody a message, you know? But anyway, we'll show you this. It's the geoelectric field. And we are seeing some pulsation here, which means we're getting some geomagnetic activity. And I want to show you this because it is showing a little bit of activity there around California too. See that? It's not much. I don't know that it's causing any issue, but we did have some earthquakes. Okay, so let me show you these. Wow, we got some swarming going on right there. Wonder what's up with that. Also, guys, we had a kind of a weird one in a weird spot right here. That was in South Carolina, west of Columbia. Yeah, Tammy, my daughter's fine. I'm still not fine, guys. I'm not gonna like come out here and tell everybody what's going, you know, just everything that's happening and all that. But I'm not gonna, you know, sit here and lie either, just because I don't want people to know. That's just not what I do. I don't feel very good, guys, and there's some pretty serious stuff going on. I'll get it handled, but it just is what it is. So anyway, we got the, you know, guys, don't forget that. I tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna change this to that because this is Mina, Nevada again. we had a 4.9 or 5. It came in at a 5, but they downgraded it to a 4.9. That's, a few months back is where we had that decent sized one, and all that activity started happening, and it's doing it again. And when you start seeing 5s in that area again, you have to understand that we're probably going to start seeing a lot more action out here again. You can see how it's still rumbling. Look at all these brand new ones. I want to see where, because it did it. We had maybe it just crested over the day. But also this one over here, guys, and I want to point this out too. This was interesting to me. Let's go here. Mina's right here, right? They came in at a 4.9. This one in Japan, a 5.5. Okay, it's basically on the same latitude line. And then we had this one, basically on the same latitude line. And they're timed out like they really could be that far away and be caused by kind of the same kind of thing. Whether it was some sort of whatever from space or if it's something underneath our feet, I don't know. All I can do is just show you the earthquakes. I'm not the guy, that I'm getting better at that, I will say. But at the end of the day, I can't do much more than show it to you, show you space weather and how it relates to it, and point you to people like Ron over at Emergency Management Associates. I've shown you guys, he's a great guy, runs a great channel. And Ricky and Isaiah's granny really pointed me that way and all that. Hey, Arizona Raven, thank you so much. I forgot to thank you for the kind words and the other thing, okay, the donation. So I really do appreciate it, okay? I just wanted you to know. And everybody else that's donated, okay? By the way, here is my PayPal. You guys, if you want to help, you can. If not, just support. That's all it is, okay? No, don't feel like you're obligated to do any of that. And by no means, just because I don't feel good, start throwing money at me like that for that reason. I'm not gonna, that's just not me, okay? That's not why I say any of that. I think you guys know that by now, but I would be remiss not to say it. So, I really do appreciate everything. I do. But watch this. I like showing this, guys. See the activity we got going on? It's 2.5 and bigger. When I change it to all magnitudes, look what we see. I just think that's hysterical. Because it's not representative of all, unless you turn that on to see where the activity's at. So, Hilly, gosh dang it, man. You crack me up every time. Guys, he's got Bible study today. Go over and check him out, okay? Pop your link in there, Hilly. Alright. So, go over to spaceweather.com. Meteor Shower. We'll talk about that for a second. That's on the 13th and 14th. This should be a pretty decent one. It's a Gemini. We get it every year, okay? They expect more than 60 meteors per hour. That's a lot, guys. When the shower peaks on the night of December 13th and 14th. If you guys, go check out Hilly's channel over there, guys, please. Give him some love. Anyway, it says for best results, get away from the city, obviously, and keep an eye on the sky between 10 p.m. Sunday night and 5 a.m. Monday. It's got, you guys could go over here to spaceweather.com and get, click on that, observing tips. It'll give you some good stuff. We got some photo galleries, and this is giving me a good chance to show you guys this too. I showed you guys this a little bit the other day just because people were, it was on my feed there, and I showed it to you for what reason. I can't remember why, but I'm glad I did because I hadn't shown it in a while. This right here is live meteor, and if just say you guys have bad weather, and you can't get out to see this, or if you just don't want to go outside for whatever, maybe it's too cold for you or whatever, you can come over here. This is a live feed. Alright, and I'll grab this and take it back, see if we can't find a meteor. You know, so it'll make a beeping sound, and it'll continue to beep until it doesn't see the meteor. So, you know, if you guys go over here and you got headphones on, let me tell you this right up off the bat. Make sure you mute your headphones at first, and then bring the volume up slow, because it is loud. Okay? Now, that right there is a meteor. That's a very small one. Okay? But that is a meteor. So everybody knows that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this back so we can hear it. I want you guys to hear what it does. So I'm going to turn the sound on. You guys hear that? So, if you have a big one, that little beeping sound you heard, that would continue until it was gone. So, it's a neat site to go over here, and there's other sites you can find them on YouTube. This is just the one I use. I'm going to put the link down here for you guys. They run a 24-hour feed over here, okay? So, yeah, if you go over there and check them out and just say, hey, Wages World sent me, show you some love, that kind of thing. I've not had any conversation with this channel or anything. Obviously, they've only got one watching, but that doesn't, the thing of it is, nobody's really going to come watch this unless they're bored or unless they know there's a meteor shower. So, and what you're seeing here, guys, you're really not seeing, hey, Terry, what's up? Yeah, Terry's a good guy too. He's a good guy to go to all the earthquake stuff too. Sorry, Terry. You know, I mentioned Ron, and half the time I forget to mention you. I'm sorry, man. Anyway, what you're seeing when you see a meteor, you're not really seeing the meteor core itself. The way this tool works is it sees basically the tail of it as it's getting burnt up. It's seeing that. It's not really seeing the meteor itself. So just know that when you look at it, okay? So that's why when we see them, there'll be like real long signatures. That's why. It doesn't mean the meteor's like that long. Yeah, for sure, Terry. I mean, you got a channel too, don't you, Terry? I'm not sure if I need to go check that out. Because I think I've heard you on Ron's show before, but I'm kind of new to all the earthquake circle there. Ricky and Isaiah's granny has kind of helped me get there. And that's kind of where I'm starting to meet people over there with Ron and you and things like that. So forgive me if I mess up and not really know what I'm talking about there. But yeah. So guys, I would go here, guys, if I was you, and I was looking for those kinds of, if my weather was bad, I go here during the meteor showers. So if you guys don't want to go outside, come here. This thing will be lighting up, I'm telling you. It does every time. And anybody that's been watching these things before, when we see big ones come through here, there'll be like multiple lines. You can tell. Now, like I said, don't get all crazy and think it's something way out of the ordinary, because it won't be. But it'll just be showing you decent-sized meteor. That's it. So, let's get back to here real quick. Now, the Noctolucent clouds, guys. Well, first off, this is that active area. My guess is once it comes visible, they'll put a sunspot number on it. Notice how we're down to 59% here. That's 18% now increase in activity. Or at least the number of days we see sunspots. Can't really see activity. I guess that's the wrong word. It's just showing that we have sunspots. And there's the better thing to say here would be the chances of activity are greater. Maybe that's the right phrase. You want to get technical with it. So yeah. The Noctolucent clouds, guys, they finally showed up. And well, you know, if these are to follow suit like they have in the past, this whole thing will end up being blue. And if you guys don't know what a Noctolucent cloud is, it's a very like blue metallic looking cloud. And what causes them is what they tell us causes them is moisture gets around the meteor dust that hangs around the poles, and it freezes. So when the light hits it, it gives off that blue hue because it forms that kind of a cloud. That's what you're seeing. That's the theory. I have no reason to doubt it, but you know, I'm not sure why they think that meteor dust hangs around the poles. Maybe it's a magnetic thing. Because I would think that meteors probably have a little bit more metallic content. Maybe that's why. I bet that is why. Now that I think about it. I really not thought about that before. Noctolucent clouds were a new thing to me about a year and a half ago. I didn't know what they were. And so I started digging into it, trying to figure out what they were and what kind of research we could do on that. And there's quite a bit of data, but it isn't old data. It's newer stuff. So, you know, it's got to stand the test of time and peer-reviewed papers and all those kinds of things. And I'm sure it will. But, you know, it could change what they say they're made out of. But the theory here is that ice goes around meteor dust on the poles. It freezes, and that's what we see. And it's from the moisture, guys. You got to think the moisture's got to get up there and freeze around that meteor. And the issue is, you know, when we start talking about glacier melt, that's, you know, this is one of the things that would point, when we stop seeing the Noctolucent clouds, would point to having issues on the pole. We already know that, you know, the glacier melt is all whacked out on both poles. So what's going on there, the biggest thing there is the salinity change into the ocean water. Because it can change the underground or the below surface ocean currents, which is the ocean highways, which drastically affects our climate. I showed you guys how it does on the I'll do it again just real quick for the Gulf Stream. It's going to be real quick. If you take in consideration Moscow's here, right? We got England over here. You know, London. They're basically on the same latitude line. So theoretically, they should have the same climate, right? Very close to it. We know that Moscow gets really bad winters. But how come London doesn't? They're just as close to the North Pole as Moscow is. Well, the reason why is because of the Gulf Stream waters. The waters come down through here. They go up through here, and they do this. That's one of the highways, right? Underneath. So when the salinity changes, it can change the current, the speed of it. It can change the temperature of the current. Because if you've ever made ice cream, what do? You put salt on the ice to be able to make ice cream, right? It allows it to get colder. So that's what I'm trying to say. So what you're seeing here, you know, if the Gulf Stream starts to change because the salinity is from glacier melt, it could really affect the climate directly right here. And most likely, if this starts to change, the global highway system overall probably will. So that is definitely something that we have to keep in mind. So just know that, okay? There's so many things that can affect our climate and can affect us in a big way. And we can't ignore any of it. And that's the whole reason I went as far as I did when I was telling you guys about the Halo CME that fizzled out. I want you guys to understand that that's not a normal thing that we experience. We get a Halo CME. I would like to see some numbers. I couldn't find any numbers on how many times we've had a Halo CME with virtually no impact on our geomagnetism. I wouldn't think that number would be very high. So that's why I went that far in depth. That tells you how, you know, guys, it tells you how fragile and how, I guess, in tune we have to be here on our planet for things to stay the way that they are. And we would be very naive to think that things aren't going to change, because it doesn't take, in an overall picture of things, it doesn't take much to get the ball rolling. And I want to say this too, and I don't talk about this much, but geopolitically, guys, please pay attention. I care about everybody in here, and I'm not going to give you my position on anything political or anything like that, because it's not what we're here for. But what we can do is look at that and say, hey, now that's happening at the same time everything else is going on. And then you can look at other aspects, the religion aspect, the research aspect, whales beaching themselves. I mean, just, marine life getting all nuts. Wildlife getting all nuts. I mean, come on. So we have to really take that in consideration. And then you got, like I said, I showed you guys the article of the head of the Israeli Space Division, or used to be. He's 87 years old now, basically on his deathbed, just spilling the beans, saying Trump knows everything about what's going on. And there's something else here I'm going to say too. I know people have very strong opinions on this whole, this juice that they're wanting to stick in our arm. And I don't know what my position is on that, just to be honest with you. If they make it mandatory or whatever they're going to do there, I don't know what I'll do. But let me say this. If you guys go and you guys start researching that at all, just know that Australia has already stopped theirs. They started doing it. And they stopped. Ask yourself why. England, they started doing it. And they're kind of doing, I'm hearing stuff there too. I don't know the exact numbers and stuff here, but I do know that the side effects, they're very similar to they're telling us they're very similar to what we experience with the regular flu vaccination. But I've heard otherwise too. So, I don't know what to believe there. And I tend to view with somebody that isn't mainstream, because most of the stuff we hear from there, guys, we know it's not the best place to get stuff anymore. All right? And I've said that before. And again, I don't usually talk about this stuff here, but this is a subject that's going to affect us all. So just know, with all that craziness happening, everything else that's happening above our heads, below our feet, and everywhere else, I mean, how can we sit back and just not pay attention? That's my whole point. Hey, Skywalker, there's my best name right there. Hey, and then you dropped the Skywatcher 333 name. That's another one. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So it's just, and again, I don't like bringing up those conversations because it usually instigates fights in my chat. And I don't want that to happen, because that's not what we're here for. We can share information and things, but people get really passionate about that stuff. And I understand. I do. I have some very strong feelings too on all that. I'm not going to put them out here, because people, I get scrutinized enough with what I show. And I'll talk about it probably on other channels, like over at Mark's or whatever. But there's certain things we can't even say here on the internet. It's ridiculous. All I would say is, before you do anything, just do your research and make your own decision. If you do your research and you decide you want to do it or not do it, at least you know that you made for yourself, you made an educated decision. Okay? Because at this point, nothing's being forced on you. So go get yourself educated on that subject. Alright? And just do the best you can with it. That's all anybody can do. And whatever decision you make, stand by it. Okay? And just know that that decision is just for you and your immediate family. Don't judge other people that are deciding to do something different. That's too much. Just saying. So, I am going to end it here, guys. God bless. Yahusha saves. And, you know, check out Hilly and everybody else. My PayPal's in the description box. If you guys want to help Dr. Albers and Scott, that's down there too. They're still dealing with their stuff. She'll be going to the doctor again this month. They're going to try to get that thing going again so that she can get better. It does cost quite a bit for them to do that. It's very expensive, actually. But if you want to help them, that's down there too. So, God bless. Yahusha saves, and